It wasn't a mountaintop, it wasn't a mirror, it wasn't a breakthrough moment wrapped in light. It was a hallway. Dim, quiet, unfamiliar. The kind of place where echoes linger, where truth doesn't yell, it whispers. I just slammed the door behind me, not in anger, but in clarity. The past could no longer carry me, and I could no longer carry who I was. So I stood there, barefoot, unpacked, exposed, carrying grief like luggage I forgot I packed. And that's when I saw her. She didn't enter from a door, she emerged from within the hallway itself as if the silence had been holding her all along. She looked like me, but more undone, more ancient, more eternal. Wrapped in a soft robe, ash clinging to her ankles like she had just laid an old version of us to rest. Her eyes didn't flinch, her smile didn't beg. She looked at me like I was already enough, like she'd been waiting for me to stop running. And I already knew. She didn't have to introduce herself. I could feel it in my chest the way my body recognized her before my mind caught up. She was the version of me I always sensed was there. Just beneath the survival, the softness I traded for strength, the knowing I buried beneath the noise. She looked at me like someone who had watched me shrink and rise, fall apart and rebuild over and over again. She didn't rush to speak. She just studied me with a kind of reverence, like she could see every version of me at once and loved all of them. It made me feel seen in a way that undid me. Finally, after what felt like an entire lifetime of silence, she spoke. You've been carrying a story that was never yours, but the one God's been writing for you is still unfolding. I swallowed hard. There were no words in my mouth, just ache. I wanted to argue, to explain, to defend why I wasn't further along. Instead, I whispered, I don't feel ready for that version of me. She feels like pressure, like someone stronger, someone wiser, someone better. She stepped closer, not to correct me, but to comfort me. She's not pressure, she said. She's a promise, and promises aren't earned, they're inherited. We sat on the floor, not in defeat, but in reverence, in the sacred tension between no longer and not yet. And for the first time, I let myself be held by my own truth. The parts of me that didn't need performance, the parts of me that didn't need applause, the parts of me that just needed rest. This hallway wasn't a punishment. It was a threshold, a sacred place of stripping and remembering, not where I lost myself, but where I find myself again. And maybe that's why the hallway exists, to peel off everything that was never really ours. To show you who you are when no one's watching. To remind you that becoming doesn't happen in applause. It happens in the quiet. She didn't give me a timeline or a to-do list. She just reminded me that I didn't need to be perfect to be progressing. That presence was more powerful than pressure, and that sometimes staying still is a sacred act of faith. Before she faded back into the silence, she left me with this. You don't have to get it all right here. You just have to stay. Stay until you remember you were never behind. Stay until you no longer see yourself as broken but becoming. Stay until the door opens, not because you forced it, but because you were ready. So I stayed with her, with me, with God, in the hallway between who I was and the woman I was born to become. And for the first time, I didn't feel lost in the middle. I felt found.